Hi, I'm Jules, a speech pathologist of 18 years. The question was about when should I worry about autism, and my answer to that is you don't need to. Yes, you may see some differences in your child. You may see them developing differently, playing differently, engaging differently, communicating differently, and that is all completely natural and expected. What it is a different neurotype or a different brain development, which has been happening since the beginning of time. And yes, autism is a neurodivergent type of development, but it is very much expected, very common. And when I say common, the new research is now approximately 1 in 40 children. And that's because we've begun to be able to identify and diagnose the wide range that autism encompasses, and to help understand better those individuals and how their brain type develops and how that impacts their engagement and experience of the world. And also for parents and educators and everyone else to help understand how they can better support, engage, relate, and accept differences. So when I see a parent who feels like their child or observes that their child may be developing differently or autistic, my advice is to lean into that, learn more about it, get some support from autistic authors, and because it is genetic, maybe even some other family members who developed in a similar way, and really find out more information. And not to worry or put expectation or demands on the child who is developing differently. What we do know from research is that all parents have a vision or a perceived idea of what their family will look like, what their children will look like or be like. And if a child is developing differently to that, if in your vision or perceived idea of what your family will be like, if that is neurotypical children and you have a neurodivergent child or an autistic child, there will be that adjustment, and that can feel different, sad, loss, grief, anger, lots of different emotions. And it's really important to acknowledge that that is very typical, very normal experience to have. Again, not all parents will have that. And it's something that you can focus on with a therapist or look for within some of your own personal reflections, because it's not about the child. And I think that's really important. Sometimes as parents, we can project what we want them to be or who we thought they would be, or try and change them. There is nothing broken, nothing need to be fixed. It's not an illness. There's nothing to be cured. It's not about fault or blame. It's not anyone's decision, or no one made a child like that, unless you're talking specifically about genetics, which it mostly is. And it's what I say to parents: instead of worrying, get some information and relax into the understanding that your child will be seeing and learning about the world differently, and that is a beautiful thing, and it's completely valid, and you will get to learn more about how their brain works. So really reach out to those resources and take time for you. And it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't change speech therapy or occupational therapy too much, except we can then better understand how to support the child. Now, the reality is some of your therapists may already see that your child is developing differently or that they are neurodivergent, and that's okay. They've probably already put adaptations into place. For example, using more visuals, more keyword sign, keeping things more transparent, keeping things clear, using language that is, very explicit and not confusing. So changing the way that they approach your child and how they engage with them. So having something written on a piece of paper in terms of a diagnosis, it doesn't change your child. Children don't wake up one day differently because something's written on a piece of paper. What it does do is it does give information. It can open doors for services, and it can allow acceptance, like true acceptance, to come in that your child is naturally developing this way, and that's completely, expected and the way it was meant to be. And that can help parents with that process of learning about different brain types, from the typical to the atypical type of brain. And so as parents, and I know I can speak from personal experience, there is that worry when you see that difficulty in your child, or maybe they had words and then they didn't, which was what happened with our son. And it is very natural for you as well to worry or to question that or get confused, and that is okay. What I say is, don't stay there. Don't stay in that state of needing to change someone else or having to have them behave the way that you thought they would in your prediction of them, and to really move forward on and accept who your child is and get to know them and get to learn about them and enjoy those early years as well as later years. But yeah, if someone if someone is querying, should I get a diagnosis? Should I worry about this? I say, lean into it. Find out more. See a pediatrician or a child psychologist and investigate that. If that's really important right now, is to have more information or a diagnosis, go for it. In Australia, it allows for funding. It allows for other people to help support that child in a better way because they're more informed. And as a child gets older, it does become part of, who they are and how they learn. And it is important, from my perspective, to help them understand that and for them to be educated on how their brain is different, or how their brain, what their strengths are and what may be challenging for them. And to, just be educated and informed at a later, when they're a bit older. In terms of worrying, I say to parents, easier said than done, but try and transition through that worry and make it something functional, relatable, natural, and get into a stage where you are better understanding your child and being the parent to them, the best one that you can be, and see that children aren't just their brain type or a diagnosis or a this or a that. I personally see my children as who they are, not necessarily like their brain type is who their identity is. It's just a part of that, and I can adapt and change and support them in ways that helps them and is meaningful for them. But I certainly don't see it as like completely who someone is. We're just such complex, wonderful creatures that, a brain type doesn't define someone for who they are. But it certainly explains and supports how it gives us more information about how we can engage and help them in certain ways, or what may be challenging for them or different. I say to parents, get out there, get informed, and get chatting to other people, and positive people who are about inclusivity, neuroaffirming, and just being great people all around. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you do have any other questions, send them through. I'm happy to answer them.